Hey guys, it's Danny. Welcome to today's quick vid. We haven't had one of these in a long time. Well, today I'm going to talk a little bit about where semi-hydro or actually clay medium fails. And this is with tiny little orchids that have no roots and that you kind of want to save. Seedlings, very fine rooted orchids, or miniature orchids even. I personally don't believe they have the ideal setup to recover in leca or semi-hydroponics or ceramics or whatever is clay medium. There are multiple reasons for that, so as you can see I have here, well, you don't know, it's a catasetum type orchid. I received it from Zane last year and it didn't have a great evolution. It's a very setback orchid, but catasetums are strong. So it went into the dormancy, and this year I have a little keiki forming here, and most probably I will have one, not a keiki, a new growth forming here. And as you can see, this orchid is just super tiny. It is a seedling. And even though catasetum orchids are tough and they can tolerate a little bit of drought, seedlings are different. They are a lot more sensitive. And there are a few reasons why I don't think this setup is ideal for the type of orchid that I have in front of me. First of all, it is the dryness. Semi-hydroponics is indeed a wet system. Inside the pot, not at the top necessarily. Depending on environment, the very top, and by this I mean the first 1 millimeter or 3 millimeters, will be pretty dry, not what we want with fresh new root tips. Furthermore, remember I told you about efflorescence when it comes to clay materials? Yes, this will have efflorescence at the top, and even if it's gonna have a little bit, I'm not entirely sure if fine seedling roots or miniature orchid roots are sensitive to this. There is a risk they will not handle it as well as a mature orchid. Therefore, the first thing they will touch is something a little bit salty. I personally don't want that. And overall, the level of moisture kept. Leca will evaporate water and it is good at doing that. However, the fact that the surface is dry means there isn't much humidity at the top. A mature orchid doesn't need it, but a seedling or a recovering or sick orchid definitely needs it. So today I'll show you my preferred way of actually dealing with no root orchids. Oh, I have another one here. Oh, that is actually a little root. All the more reason to work with this guy. Now, a while back I did make a video in which I show you how I like to promote new root growth on orchids, especially if they're sick or they're very fine rooted. Check it down below. I'll just give you the gist of things right now. I like to work with sphagnum moss as a temporary solution, temporary medium, because it gives me all of the things leca cannot. So I'll show you the setup, but before that I want to answer two questions that I've been sent a few months ago or recently. Number one, do I soak dehydrated or rootless orchids overnight? And the answer is no, I don't. I had a bad experience with Phalaenopsis orchids that had some grazing on the leaves. Water managed to enter the tissue and I had these splotches that really didn't look safe, so I was afraid I would destroy the tissue. Normally orchids are protected by a cuticle and this should not happen, but I believe that if the surface of the leaf is grazed or bruised or anything of the sorts, water can indeed penetrate into the leaf and destroy the tissue inside. I don't want to take that risk, particularly with orchids that might not have a lot of leaves, so no, I don't do overnight soaks. And the second one is, do I use a prepared soaking solution with nutrients, with a lowered pH, with tea and stuff of the sort? No, I don't do that either. There's another issue. I don't want to induce any rotting. Orchids that are stressed or sick or seedlings are very sensitive. So if in my environment I don't manage to extract all of the water from the crevices, and obviously I don't have the wind that nature has in my growing space, I am indeed exposing my orchid to rot. And that's just something I'm afraid of. I've experienced it too many times, so I don't want to do it. Second of all, with the tea method, I don't want to introduce virus or other disease because those plants, they were not processed, they were just dried and put in a bag of tea. So either you boil the tea, either you don't. I'm not sure, I don't want to use it near my orchids. I'm very afraid with introducing other plants with my orchids and so on. But also overall, I don't really see the benefits, and the risks of rotting for me and my grow room are pretty high. That's why I don't do it. But at the end of the day, if you have like a very serious case, might as well try anything, right? I personally don't. I'll show you what I like to do. So what I have here is a cup or a jar or a plastic glass that has a bedding of damp sphagnum moss at the bottom. This is not soggy wet. I made sure to remove the excess water. There are no pools of water in this jar. It's only damp sphagnum moss. I chose a taller glass because it will retain a lot more humidity around. And this is actually my preferred way to assist sickly orchids. I like to create a higher humidity around them, or at least around the root zone, so whatever roots want to grow will not simply stop because of low humidity. Also, if the glass can fit the entire orchid, it's even better because I am reducing transpiration through the higher humidity. But also I am maintaining things a lot more ventilated. The chance of rotting is a lot lower in this setup because I'm not actually creating pools in the crevices, in the leaf joints and crowns of the orchids. Also, some orchids are calm while other orchids are not. So even if I soak them, let's say during nighttime, if they're not calm orchids, not sure how good that will do. If I soak them in the daytime and they're calm orchids, again, not sure how good that will do because the stomatas need to be open to absorb nutrients and moisture and so on. And also there's the possibility that totally submerged the stomatas can actually not absorb anything because of the pressure. Humidity doesn't actually act on the leaf walls. It doesn't create any pressure. These are questions that I'm asking myself. I just need to investigate them more. It's just really hard because you go into the details of things and it's hard to find literature on the subject, but I will document it. Anyway, that's why I don't do all the other methods, but hey, you can do whatever you feel works best for you. We're not scientists here, at least I'm not. So what I like to do is just place the orchid on top of the damp sphagnum moss. In this way, I do make sure that I have a lot of humidity in the root zone where it's supposed to sprout from, and I also keep humidity around the orchid. In this case, we're dealing with a catasetum that is just breaking dormancy. Humidity is not important, I don't have leaves. But as a system, it is actually beneficial for other plants that might have leaves. So at this point, this orchid doesn't really need water, but also it is way too fine to leave it as a mature catasetum in total drought. So this system with damp, not wet, damp sphagnum moss, I think it will do it good. And in my logic, it actually ticks all the boxes for me, and yeah, that's how I do things. Related to this, I'll share with you down below the ICU project that I did 2 years ago. I received a lot of back divisions, rootless orchids, and you can see down below how I went about them. Pretty much it went very, very good until I moved to my new environment and I had to put them through stress once again. But for the first few months that I kept them there, they started to root and everything was going pretty great. So if you need some inspiration, if you're thinking of experimenting with this setup, check the description down below so you'll see how I handled bigger orchids. So alrighty guys, this has been the video for today. Again, I'm not sure if this is a quick vid. Let's just pretend it is, right? And of course, I'll keep you up to date with the evolution of this guy. So you see, inorganic medium is not the answer all the time, but sphagnum moss, in my opinion, has always been a great medium. I don't like bark. I would not use bark for this because when roots grow, they attach to the bark and oh my goodness, you're gonna rip them off when you want to remove the bark. With sphagnum moss, it doesn't happen. So that's why I like sphagnum moss. It's just a very temporary medium and it does wonders. I think everybody should have a little stack put aside for rainy days, if you know what I mean. So alrighty guys, thank you so much for watching. You know the drill. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe to my channel for regular orchid videos and don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. And with that said, I'll see you all next time. Bye!